How's it going, Rogues Gallery? I built 6 Gundam card game decks, and today we are going to feature all of them. There are some decks that I have already done full deck tech videos on, and some that I haven't. One particular Big Zam meme deck comes to mind that I might actually do a whole video on eventually, but essentially, the idea is, as we come to a close on the first Gundam card game set, I just kind of wanted to talk about decks, deck building, the decks that I have made, and everything that went into it. I really love building decks for card games. It's just one of my favorite parts about trading card games, and I think the Gundam card game is a really, really fun game to do that. So I figured this would be a fun video for me to make and to talk about, but maybe for you as well. Maybe you'll get some ideas. I'll talk about my deck building philosophy and what goes into it, and yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this. I will have a link in the description down below to my profile on a website called EXBurst, where I upload or I post all of my Gundam card game decks, so you can kind of take a look at that down below. But anyway, I'm yapping. Let's go ahead, go to the top down, check out all 6 of my Gundam card game decks, at least so far. Let's do it. All right, let's get started. Here we have the decks. First of all, we're gonna start talking about how I store the decks. I actually do it 2 different ways, and we'll just kind of go from there. We have 3 decks in each of these things, and I guess we'll showcase, it doesn't really matter which order. Let's do this one first. By the way, if you like this playmat, hey, this one's actually in stock. This is one of our best-selling playmats of all time, our newest mecha-themed playmat with art by Pinakis. He is a long-standing, absolutely fantastic artist who's worked on everything from Azure Lane to Arc Knights to Grand Archive and a ton of stuff. Manga, light novels, he's awesome. But obviously does great mecha stuff, and he drew our original character, Asami Reika here. So yeah, this is actually in stock. I'll be done chilling for now, but hey, if you'd like one, it's on the merch store, redzonerogue.com. So here we have a very cute witchy deck box. Big shout out to anyone who even knows what this is. If you do, then you are, I would consider, a fairly entrenched card player. We have our 3 decks inside, and they are in these, I want to call them like maybe Japanese style deck boxes. A lot of companies make this style of deck box, but most of them are Japanese companies. So this is an Azure Lane deck box. Here we have a Cardfight Vanguard deck box. And then this one is an official Gundam card game deck box. So we have one from like Bushiroad, one from Bandai, but they all kind of fit perfectly in these style of like cardboard boxes, which is great. You can fit 3 of them in here. And these cardboard boxes are pretty standard for a lot of, you know, Japanese card holding product sizes. So you can get these of like various card games and stuff, but mostly just, you can find them like importing them from Japan. There's a lot of good websites to do that. So here are these 3 decks. These are like my favorite decks, I would have to say, though the ones in here I think are all excellent as well. Let's go ahead and we'll start with my favorite deck. So the one that is I find the most joy out of playing currently, this one is my red-blue, I call it my Marita's White Base Blues deck. It is a blue-red tempo mid-range style deck. I wouldn't call it a full-on, quote, pinger deck, but it's close. It uses a lot more white-based team stuff like the booster set LR Gundam. We use the G-Fighter, obviously gun cannon, like a ton of people use gun cannon. Gem is just kind of a nice one. This deck is fairly low to the ground, especially compared to some of the other decks we have. We do have some direct damage in the form of the gun tank, as well as the Kshatriya, which is my favorite card in the game. In fact, if we're going to talk about favorites, we have this is just my favorite package in the entire game, right? You have your Marita Cruz, and then we have her 2 signature units. We have the Unicorn Gundam Banshee, and then we have the Kshatriya. And these are just so much fun. So any deck that I can play with these is just a lot of fun. And then, you know, you compound that with some of my other favorite characters in all of Gundam, like, you know, Amuro Ray, the first original protagonist. He's awesome, and this card is just absolutely cracked. plus Sayla Mass, one of the most underrated characters in all of Gundam. In fact, underrated and underutilized characters in all of Gundam. And that's because, unfortunately, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe her voice actress ended up passing away partway through one of the Gundam series, and they just were not... They didn't replace her, so they just kind of wrote the character off, which is unfortunate because she's a great character. Well, it's extra unfortunate, but yeah, I do really like Sayla Mass. So I have actually changed this deck a little bit since the deck tech. I've tweaked the numbers just a little bit. In terms of units, once again, we're running the 4 starter deck Gundam, fantastic. I really like this card, and I'm coming around to it a lot more. You should watch the gameplay video where I feature this deck, but I'm able to pull this off more than a few times, pulling off that win pair. If you have 2 or more other units, you get a draw. It's really good. 3 G fighters, I think it's pretty solid. I actually cut down on the gun cannons. I think it's really good, but I think I wanted to keep in another RX-78-2 booster set LR over one of these. I don't know, I just really like it. And then, once again, low to the ground Jim. The moment I can cut this for something better, I will, but right now it's just kind of efficient. And then we have the gun tank, which is really, really good. So I love this deck. And one of the things I like about it most, or here, there's the rest of it, by the way. We have Show of Resolve, 3 of, good little card draw. And I did bump up our close combats up to 4. And then for the bases, we have the 3 Corsica base, and then the 1 of white base, which is really good in the longer, grindier matchups. It's just a really good late game card to draw, and then because it's a base that also just makes a unit, and if it's the only thing you have going, it makes a 3/3 unit, which is actually pretty good. And if they don't have anything to blow it up immediately, you can just keep making units. Yeah, it's really, really solid. Yeah, what I like about this deck, and one of the things I just love about deck building in general is, one, I get to make something that is aesthetically pleasing to me. Like the blue and the red combos just look really, really nice to me. But also, it plays and functions in a way that I just really, really like. I love the mid-range playstyle. I love having cool, flashy finishers like the Banshee, and I love just doing the nice 2-for-1s or even maybe 3-for-1s with your Marita Cruz Kshatriya combo. That's stuff that's just really appealing to me. But also, I get to play with my favorite characters in Gundam. I really like Marita Cruz. She's definitely one of my favorite characters in Gundam. And then once again, I already mentioned it, but Amuro and Sayla, and it's all actually extra compounded by, like, my actual favorite character in Gundam is Char, but there's no Char in this deck, or is there? Because I have a full set of Char resources for our resource deck. So these are the Chinese ones. They're much more affordable than the English ones. That's super secret tech, by the way. You heard it here. Probably not first, but there's some of our custom Red Zone Rogue sleeves available, also on redzonerogue.com. But yeah, so this deck has just everything that I love about Gundam. Here's my EX base and the resource. EX resource, the Relina. This is the base that I got for attending the World Premiere event, so this one has some sentimental value to me. And yeah, I love this deck. It's super fun. If I were to play in any big tournaments, this is what I would bring. It's my favorite deck to play, but it's also, I think it's good as well. And I like it quite a bit. If you want to see the full deck tech, I have it on the video, or I have a video of it as well. Yeah, by the way, also close combat I think is super, super good. It's really good, like, you know, all stages of the game. And that's something that I think about when I'm building a deck, is like, when is the deck good and when are the cards in the deck good? And something like close combat I think is always good from the moment you can play it, because it can stop early game aggression. A lot of the like 3-2 attackers just blows up the warts. It's just super good. But also, even in late game, it can be good in doing like a tag team combo with something like direct damage from Marita Cruz or your Kshatriya. Firing it off early is also great for just filling up your trash to activate your Banshee's double attack. And it's just great as burst as well. So I think this card's so good. Almost all of my red decks now, I run a full 4 of close combat. Almost. We'll talk about one that I'm not running it. But yeah, this deck is great. And for the sleeves, by the way, lovely Dragon Shield 25-year anniversary. Once again, I'm gonna keep shilling, but I'm just gonna do it. I do have an affiliate link with Dragon Shield as well in the description down below. If you want 5% off any of the Dragon Shield sleeves on the website, so if you're like, oh, these look nice, yeah, go check it out. Get 5% off. If you want our own custom sleeves, that's on redzonerogue.com. These are also Dragon Shield sleeves. And then other considerations for this deck, I still have the gun cannon in here just in case. I still have another Sayla. I did cut back on Saylas, only went down to 3. I found myself just having too many pilots way too often. So I just cut one Sayla and I adjusted things accordingly. Delta Plus, I think it's fine. I cut them. I don't know. They don't do enough for me. I think they're just fine. And then there's another white base just in case I feel like I want to try out another white base. So yeah, that is my current favorite deck. I will put the Kshatriya on top because Kshatriya and Marita and the Banshee, I think those are my favorite cards in the game right now. They're all like tied together. It's like a package deal. If I had more Kshatriyas, you'd probably see more decks with Kshatriyas. I only have the one playset. Let's go ahead and talk about another deck that we did a full deck tech on that people seem to really enjoy. This one is my mostly white Gundam Aerial command control deck. It's all white with the exception of one card that we've already talked about. And the only card is a close combat, the 4 of. Like I said, I think close combat is kind of cracked. I don't think I've really changed this deck much since the deck tech. It's just a heavy blocker late game control deck where we use the Gundam Aerial rebuild to get back our commands. We have the 3 of Ale Strike. I might bump this Ale Strike up to 4, cut back on the perfect strikes, but I still really like it. And I still really think the Darrowbald is exceptional. In fact, I think it's even better these days with all of the green-blue running around. This just gets rid of those 3-1 Zaku tokens so well. And all of the 1-1 Corsica-based tokens. I think the Darrowbald is super, super good. Obviously, we have like other blockers. We have the Lifrith, we have the Zawart. We have our Overflowing Affections, one of the best cards in the game right now, in my opinion. Yeah, this deck is great. Heavy emphasis on commands, just stuff that we can get back. And then just some of the best pilots with Kira Yamato is fantastic. And I think Soletta Mercury is also very, very good. So yeah, this is another one of my fun decks, but I've found playing it with a lot of friends, not one of the funnest decks to play against. A lot of people don't really like playing against it because it's just so control-y. For the sleeves to this one, we are running official Gundam card game sleeves. And then for the EX resource and EX base, we have the ones that came with that deck box that I showed off. These are Japanese versions, much cheaper than English. And then for the actual resources, we have the Soletta Mercury resources because, of course, it themed with the deck. These ones are also official Gundam sleeves that I got at the World Premiere event. Yeah, I'm slowly theming out all of my Gundam decks here. These ones are the Japanese version. I was able to pick all of them up for like 60 or 70 bucks. I don't remember. It's been a while. It took a while to get here because I imported like all of them. And then finally for this batch, we still have the other 3 to go over in here. This one is one that I've not featured yet, and it's mostly just because it's kind of like a cookie cutter build. It is my favorite version of the blue-white unicorn blocker deck, except this one's more of a mid-rangey deck rather than leaning on the blockers. Here we finally show off our custom Red Zone Rogue EX base and resource tokens. These went to the patrons a couple months ago. And then this is kind of like the most jumbled of the resource deck that I have here because it's kind of a 2 of all of these. These are just like my extra resources that I don't have 10 of. So we have, you know, like Banager and Atherin, Hero, we have Zex. So it's kind of like a mix, and also like fancy Gundam. But it's kind of cool. I don't know. This one, we have a bunch of another group of cards that I'm considering adding more of to this deck, and a big old chunk of tokens. Because we have this deck. We'll go over it really quickly, but you've likely seen lists like this before. By the way, these sleeves are new Dragon Shield dual mats. Very nice. Once again, we have a promo code down below, Rogue5, if you are like, yo, these look nice. Yeah, I got a 5% off. So anyway, we have the full 4 of Unicorn Gundam. I know a lot of people run like 3 in a deck like this, but this deck I really want to get my Unicorn Gundams. The whole deck, I really want to do the Unicorn combo. And so because of that, I ran the full 4 of these. So that's the whole point of the deck. I want to kind of like grind my opponent down till I get him with a double unicorn attack. And by that I mean you play your Unicorn Gundam Unicorn mode, and then you do the link, draw the card with Bandager, you attack, and then you do the thing where you do the alternate cost for this by destroying your Unicorn Gundam Unicorn mode. You get your Bandager back, and then you play this for free, and then you link Bandager up again, draw another card, and then you smash in. So you get like a double attack with this, which is really nice. Good way to like finish off the game. So yeah, that's kind of the game plan with this deck. Here's the regular Unicorn mode. I have a nice fancy one. This one also uses a full play set of Aerial Strike Gundams. Really, really good. We still have a couple perfect strikes, and the Sword Strike, which is also great at bouncing units back. Important to note, this links with Earth Alliance, so we can actually link it up with our Hawk of Endymion or Mulaflaga, which is really, really good. Like I said, this is more of a tempo deck, right? So we have stuff like the Sword Strike, we have the Rezel, we have Lifrith, and we have the Demi Garrison, which is just a 1-drop 2/2, which is pretty solid. I like this version of the deck. I like the more tempo-y version. I think it's more fun for me to play than like the full blockers. And then of course we have Bandager Links, fantastic. +2/+2 on pilots is pretty uncommon right now, and getting a draw card is really good. And then we have Kira Yamato. So we're running some pretty powerful pilots. And then we have the Hawk of Endymion, which I think is super underrated. I keep saying it, but I think it's great. And then once again, Overflowing Affection. This one we kind of hedged our bets, so we have a 3 Overflowing and a 3 Show of Resolve. I could see you cutting a Show for an Overflowing, but in the grindier matchups, I find Show to be pretty good. They're also running Striker Pack. I run this on a lot of my decks. It's great, as well as the Corsica base. Yeah, pretty standard. Yeah, pretty standard like unicorn, like blue-white unicorn list. And then as I mentioned before, I have some other cards that I'm considering running more of. Like here's the Overflowing and a Show Resolve that you can kind of swap, as you see fit. And then the other 2 Hawks, which I think are just really good. And those are the 3 decks that I'm playing the most right now. Mostly it's these 2. The Unicorn deck is just one that I've been playing around with because hey, I like like Unicorn, right? All right, let's kind of show off this. So this is something that if you've been watching since the beta days, I have been keeping a lot of my Gundam stuff in one of these. This is one of the Tellurian Community College academics, and it does hold pretty well 3 Gundam decks. So, and then a bunch of like tokens and dice and all that kind of good stuff, including some extra little reference rules and stuff just in case. So yeah, let's go ahead and show this off a little bit. We have a deck in here, and then we have 2 decks in this section. So we'll go ahead and take these out, and then we'll go ahead and take this one out as well. You're going to see some decks that I have featured on the channel, and you're going to see a deck that I haven't featured on the channel, one that I've already alluded to. And in fact, I've actually made some alterations to some of the decks you have seen on the channel. So for an example, like I'll show this one off first. My Wing Zero deck. So I've actually altered the Wing Zero deck a little bit. Not the way you might think. I was running Demi Trainer in the deck, the 1/1 blocker for 1. I still like the card. I think it's like still pretty good in the current meta. It's weak to like the pingers, but I think it's pretty good against the aggressive decks, which are being more and more popular. But I added in my 4th Death Scythe. We still are running the 3 Wing Zeros. If I had another one, I'd probably run another one. But I added in a 4th Death Scythe. I added in more Aerial Strike Gundams because they're really good. Still have the 4 Demi Trainers. We have Hero Yui, Duo Maxwell, Chang Wu Fei, but I also added in Striker Packs as well because they're just so good. They're just so good. In a deck like this that's kind of slower, you want to get to your late game, they're great. And they're a little bit more, I don't know, proactive or active than something like the Bird mode, which I cut. So I completely cut the Wing Zero Bird mode, or the Wing Gundam Bird mode. Still have our 4 Overflowing Affection, still have our 4 Path to Victory, and we still have our 4 Underground Desert Base. And this is my current version of my Wing deck. I think this deck's really fun. Not much else to say. I think Shenlong Gundam's still fantastic. I think the deck still plays really well. Once again, you can swap out the Demi Trainers for Zawarts. I like Demi Trainers though. Also, I don't have a ton of Zawarts, so it works out well for me. Yeah, this deck's really fun, and I still like it quite a bit. I think it's quite strong. We are using our own custom Red Zone Rogue sleeves, though unfortunately these ones have sold out. People really like the mech stuff. It tends to sell out. And then for our EX base, we have this Japanese Gundam base promo, which is great. And then, of course, we got to have the Relina EX resource for the wing deck, of course. And then we actually are using our beta foil resources for the resource deck, which is nice. And some Katsumi sleeves. These ones are in stock, though. So, that is the Wing Zero deck. Great deck. In terms of favorites, I might like it more than the Unicorn. This might actually be worthy of being up there, but it's not. We're not ranking them or anything. I'm just showing the decks that I like. All right, let's showcase. We'll save the jank one to last. I like the jank deck. This is the most recent deck that we featured on the channel. All the sleeves are Katsumi sleeves. Once again, these are in stock on redzonerogue.com. But this is our Zaft deck, right? This is our Justice Zaft deck. And it's also one of the more controversial decks that I've made because, I mean, a lot of people just wanted there to be more level 2 cards. Specifically, they wanted level 2 units. And I think that's fair. But the way the deck works, I think it actually works very well. I could see putting in close combats. So that is one thing that I think could work its way into the list, is the close combats. And I also want to say that one of the viewers took the deck out to their locals. They said they made minor tweaks and then went 3-in-1 with it. So that's awesome. I love to hear that. I love to see when people actually like take the decks that I've built and take them for a spin, try them out. I like this deck quite a bit. It is slow. It is a very mid-rangey deck. It's got a pretty hard turn 3 curve in terms of board presence. On the first 2 turns, you're going to be spending it playing like your Overflowing Affection, maybe replacing or doing some Gamao. If your opponent's like a super aggro deck, they blow up your EX base, jam out your Gamao. But overall, I think the deck's still a lot of fun. Would I make some tweaks to it? I don't know, maybe, but maybe not in the ways that you would think. I think something like the Gaza D could be really good because you can go Gaza D on turn 2, and then on turn 3 you can do a thing where you play like the dual Gundam and then you link them, and then you can give it the +2 and then it'll get breach, and so you can get some cool stuff. And then a lot of folks have mentioned Blitz Gundam, which is something that I'm considering running Blitz Gundam. But anyway, for the sleeves and stuff for this, we got our Red Zone Rogue EX base and resources, and then we have the Machu full 10 of Machu resources. But yeah, I think this deck's fun. I still like it. But you could tweak it a little bit. All right, the final deck that I want to showcase is another one that's just an all Katsumi sleeves. Is my Big Zam deck. This deck's kind of a meme, but it's also kind of awesome. So let me just showcase the resources and stuff real quick. It's just all Zaku resources. This is the only one this is the only deck I have that's not all foil resources. We just got the one Zaku. We got a bunch of tokens here. All right, this deck rules. So it rules in the best way. So we're running stuff like Big Zam. We got 3 of Big Zam. We got 4 of Shinanju. We got some Girazulu guards type. This is one that enters and deals 1 damage, which is great. We have the 4 Shars Gelgoog, and then we have 4 Shar Zaku 2, 4 Shar Zaku 2, 4 Rikdom, 4 Gazadi sleeves, 4 Zizulu, 4 Zaku 2. So this actually has a fairly nice curve, and we have a lot of like level 2 units. So the idea is we play something on 2, and then we just curve out. We go 2, 3, 4, and we just smash, punch our opponent in the face as hard as we can. Most of the deck is units. We just have an absolute crap load of units. And why is that? Well, we want to fill up our yard with the Big Zam. And we just want to deploy, blow up all of our opponents' blockers, and we can breach them. And we're going all in on the Big Zam. So we're running our 4 Shars, obviously, because Shar's cracked and he has cracked things, all the stuff we have. But we're also running 3 Dozel Zabi at Fortress Defense, which is a level 5 2 cost. You can use it as a command to deploy 2 1/1 Zakus, or just give +1/+0. But more importantly, on 7, you can do your big Zam, and then you can Dozel Zabby it up. So you can attack for 6, and it has Breach 4. But even like not, getting 2 1/1s is actually not bad with this deck, because we just want to smash face as much as we can. Basically, with this deck, you just go face as much as you can, unless it makes sense to trade. And a lot of the times it does, because we do have stuff that has Breach, we have high maneuver, so we can attack into something to get that ping off. We have the ones that with really nice, like, you know, destroy effects. We have Rikdom that also has Breach. And then we have stuff that just are good base killers, like the Z-Zulu and the Zaku Tube. It's actually a really fun deck, dirt cheap to make and play. It's kind of a meme, but it's also just really fun. So other pilots we also running our 3 full frontal. We have a lot of targets for full frontal in this deck. So we don't whiff as much in this deck as others. So we have like the gear, well, basically this much. The big ones you want to hit are the Girazulus and the Gelgoogs, right? Because you want to do the Gelgoog, and then you want to do the Gelgoog effect to get the Sharp back and just jam, but you can get any of these other cards back. And then the final card in the deck, another meme, actually not as bad as it looks, is the Citizens Take a Stand. Hear me out. Okay, hear me out. If you have a whole bunch of little doofuses late game, right? You have your Rikdoms and your Zakus, and they're just kind of like, they don't do enough. You have your Z-Zulus, your Zakus, and you might even have a bunch of tokens, right? This is actually sometimes the one card you want, because it gives all your dudes plus 2 AP. Suddenly, your crappy little Zaku 2 is now crashing in for 5. That takes out most units and most bases. And so there are games where I'm just like, burst, Citizens Take a Stand in my hand, crack back, kill you. Like, it's not the best deck, but it's a really fun one. And when you kill your opponent with Big Zam, they're like, what is going on here? So I like Big Zam. This is my meme deck, but it's also just really fun. So yeah, it's just mostly units. The whole point is you just jam as many units as you want. This is full Xeon. Just go Xeon all the way, and then you just back it up with our pilots. Like, it's just all units, and then pilots, and then Citizens Take a Stand. That's it. Play dudes, turn them sideways. This deck is ridiculous, and it's fun. And yeah, I think we're gonna end the video here. Definitely, we're gonna be making a lot more Gundam card game decks going forward. I do want to mention one thing, and that you know, I have 6 decks here, right? How many boxes did I buy for this? How much did it cost me? So I have not bought any singles for the Gundam card game. I've only bought sealed product, and well, that's it. I've only bought sealed product. And so to build all of these took me mostly 5 booster boxes. The 6th booster box I did a video on recently. You can kind of see the other cards that I got for, like my 4th Kshatriya and that kind of stuff. My 4th Death Scythe. But most of this was made off of 5 booster boxes, a beta kit, and 2 of all of the starter decks. I know the starter deck prices are ridiculous right now. Maybe you're watching in the future and you're like, what? Yes, starter deck prices are kind of crazy right now. We're waiting for a reprint, which should be coming in October. But yeah, so about 5 booster boxes, and I was able to build all of this. Or you can just buy singles. Something like this deck is very cheap. Actually, 2 of these decks are extremely inexpensive to make. Especially for this deck, if you cut out the Char's Gelgoogs, which are coming down in price, not too bad. And so I just want to talk about the cost of the Gundam card game, because it's very expensive to like buy a lot if you want to buy a lot of booster boxes. But if you want to just build a deck, you can build most of these decks for under 200 bucks. Most of them closer to the $100 range, and so a couple of them much less than that. If you wanted to go all in like me, I'm thinking like 6 boxes a set gives me enough to build a bunch of decks. Just as long as there's not a ton of crossover in LRs. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. And sometimes, you know, you'll need... The reason I'm able to have so many Ailstrike Gundams, for example, is because I got Ailstrike Gundams in my beta kit, right? So I had 2 Ailstrike Gundams from my beta kit, plus all the Ailstrikes that I had from the starter deck. So stuff like that is those are gonna be like the funnel points. But I just wanted to mention that here. And like, also, if you want to bling out your deck, buying non-English versions the way to go. Like, I got all my Shars, about $100. I think these were like, well, it's probably like 120. I think these were $12 each, but a lot cheaper than the English versions. So if you want to like bling out your decks on top of that, just, you know, buy smartly, I guess. To actually play a lot in the Gundam card game right now isn't too bad when compared to a lot of other card games. It's not the cheapest thing out there, and I know prices are quite expensive for people who just want to get like a starter deck. But at the end of the day, when you're like, hey, what are the competitive what are the prices of a competitive deck, like some of these ones up here, versus, or even like this the Wing Zero deck, what are the prices of other competitive card games? And you're talking $3, $4, $5, up to $1,000 for other card games. I know this one is new, but still, I just kind of wanted to put that all into line here. And once again, if you want to check these decks out, I do have a link in the description down below. You can see the prices of the decks on EX Burst. I think they're fairly accurate. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what kind of decks you would like to see in the future. We have the new Iron-Blooded Orphans thing coming out, the new starter deck, which I will be getting. I have a lot of ideas for a lot of purple decks, purple-red, purple... blue, I don't know, there's some really cool stuff you can do there. So yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite deck is that you've been playing in the comments section down below. I appreciate you for being here and watching and supporting the Gundam card game content. It means so much to me. Absolutely love this game, and it's been just a great, wholesome experience for me. So yeah, that's enough of that. We'll see you next time.